Welcome to High Oracle's Reiki Spiritual Healing Channel. And I was just sitting here having a flashback because I just finished off, my red beans and rice, and I had some nice jerk chicken, that I had marinated really well over the weekend, and it tastes really great. The only thing is that the marinade said that it was mild and it was actually hot. It was hot. I was burning, but I enjoyed it just the same. I like hot food. So, I wanted to talk to you because this flashback is relevant to all of us. Some of you had one parent that was narcissist, or that was very hard on you, and some of us had two parents. But I wanted to specifically tell you that a lot of times our fathers who were in the homes, they were very silent because they were in competition in the home. They wanted to be, seen as, the provider. So let me tell you what I mean by that. I remember my mother having my aunts and having friends over, female friends. And I remember them, talking, and I would be siding around, hiding up under the furniture, hiding, under the coffee table. I would be hiding somewhere. And I could hear them talking, and, they would be saying things, never make your husband feel unwanted. Never hurt your husband's ego. Okay, so they were afraid that if they didn't tell people that the husband had bought that furniture, that the husband was buying their clothes, that the husband was, doing all these nice things, paying the telephone bills and all of these things, that if they didn't tell people those types of things, if they didn't lie for him, when the family came over and said, for the holidays, oh, the house looks really nice. Okay, then they had to lie and say that the husband bought these things to protect his ego. And growing up, being around these types of women who were protecting the male's ego, but they were being punished, but in the homes, they were being abused in the homes because the male could not actually afford these things, and they were, having to put their money either with the males, or they had bought these things without the father in the household. So this made him feel bad. This made him feel, unwanted. And a lot of the men were very abusive at that time. And I can remember my mother always saying, respect a man, but, respect is earned, not given. Okay, he has to respect too. Okay, he has to respect the household. He has to respect the children. He has to respect the relationship. He has to respect God most of all, and have the Godhead, the common sense that you're not going to be dominating in every area of your life. You may not be able to dominate against someone else that God has put his spirit into, and sometimes that's a female. So we are understanding that in this time that it has grown into a lot of problems in society today. I get a lot of people who have asked me about their relationships, who want healing in the love department. And when I start, talking to these people, and it reminds me of those situations back when I was growing up. It reminds me of my mother and father's situation. Okay? Because these women are telling me, I want to be with, this particular person. We've been together for, 4 and 5 years. We have children together. But he doesn't contribute to the household. He doesn't, respect my children. He doesn't respect me when his people are around. He doesn't defend me, from, his people. She doesn't, defend me from her people. But the understanding, this is what I'm giving you on this topic. The understanding is, if you are in a relationship, 555, as I'm saying this, if you're in a relationship and you're having to, protect a person's ego, if you're having to belittle a person in your relationship, then you should not be with that person that you're in competition with. That's somebody with some beat. So, this is what I have to, give some of the people who come to me and say that they want this woman, but, I want the woman. I don't want her children. Then you should not be with that person. Okay? Because she cannot get rid of her children from past relationships, just like you cannot get rid of your children from past relationships. Although that they're with their mother usually, but she still has to deal with those children. If she's going to be with you, she has to, deal with that home front. When you have a certain type of ego where you have not been raised to be cohesive in the family, you may need to come and book your session with me so that we can have a conversation about why and, what you were taught. You may need to have some professional help. Okay? If you are in a relationship where you do not, have the person's back the way that they need you to be there and stand up and show up in their lives. It's just like, I've seen those people that play spades. I cannot play spades that well, but I've seen them play spades that they almost, know what their partner is going to do. They're playing off of their partner. If you are not like that in the relationship and you want somebody to pretend with you, to hold your mess together, to make sure that you are not harmed, your ego isn't harmed, but you're harming everyone else because you're in a low vibrational state. You've been, made to think that you're one of those parents that we shouldn't call you a lie, and we see that you're outright lying. Okay, you've been outright lying the entire childhood. So a lot of you do not understand that a lot of your mothers have protected your fathers, have protected their ego. They have protected, their hearts. They have protected them, from looking like bombs. Okay, so we have to make sure that if they have been protecting the fathers so that, that child loves their father, okay, and now we're having to go through the hard part, because I'm seeing a lot of women, people give their children to the fathers and let them go through, if it's better for you to stop gang stalking me, if it's better for you, to have this child with you so I can go on about my life, if it's better for you to, just leave me alone and let me give you the child support, so that you can stop, smear campaigning me in the court system. I'm having all kinds of different types of clients come to me at this point, because we have to make sure that a lot of the mothers, again, they were trying to make sure that, the father stayed in high esteem, and they got the crap beat out of them by those men. Okay, I seen this firsthand. And this is where we have to, stop pretending. This is where we stop pretending. This is where a lot of the women stop pretending, because there are only certain chosen one men who will understand, what is the reason that you need to be able to provide for your family. What is the reason you need to be able to pay the bills for your woman? What is the reason why you want to shield your woman so that she's not, wanting somebody else, so that she's not wanting or lacking, in intercourse, so that she's not, wanting, so that she can, take care of the kids. This is a part of the legacy that you leave behind, in order to make sure that the female is provided for. That the female is provided for, not only in intercourse, not only financially, but we need to be provided for spiritually. The household is supposed to be led spiritually. And a lot of the males back in the day, a lot of the males today, they're very quiet, because they're very quiet inside of the household, because a lot of them back then, they were only caring about themselves. Well, if she's gonna, provide all of this, going to work or from the government, if she's cleaning houses and can provide all of this, then I'm just going to sit here and accept it and let her work herself to death, because I'm in my ego. I have attachments. I have mental attachments about not being able to provide. I'm supposed to be able to provide. So I'm going to let her work herself to death and siphon her energy, because she's trying to do my job. And this was the farthest thing that should have been happening. I have a lot of the older people that I talk to, and they are talking to me about welfare and food stamps. The man ate just as much as the children did back in the day, and I do know this for a fact as well. So you cannot pretend, and you cannot pretend to be the leadership sometimes. So it falls on the chosen one men. Only the chosen one men that stayed in the homes, that wasn't in competition, with their wives, that took care of their children, that, left the houses and the benefits to their wives and their children. If anything happened, they had everything, sorted out. No matter if they had another person on the side, they took care of home. Okay, they made sure that their wives were, had good and plenty for the kids. They dispatched, a reasonable discipline upon the children. They wasn't in their ego with their men folks and the children. They were not the type of persons to, abuse their young girls with incest and molestation. Only the chosen one men is supposed to be in leadership and authority in that way, and all other men, fall under the category of, of the chosen one's leadership. Those who do not have those skills, those who are undeveloped, those who are not tapped in with their masculine and their feminine, those who do not use their gifts. You can feel when someone doesn't like you. On the job, in the household, you can feel that type of negative energy. So I just wanted to make sure that you understood my perception of this flashback so that you can understand as well. This is why we are having a lot of problems in society. This negative energy can be cleansed. If you're in your ego, then you're not a chosen one. If you're not in touch with your feminine and your masculine, then you're not a chosen one man. And I'm not talking to you. So this isn't for everyone. This is only for the chosen ones. And I hope that you received this message again. Please like, share, and subscribe to me. Book your consultation so that I can acclimate a gift to you, so I can cleanse your heart from any kind of negative energy or in your ego. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm High Oracle, Reiki Spiritual Healer. Assalamu alaikum.